can't stay.
Hello and welcome back to the Tinson Podcast. I'm Tim.
And I'm Tom.
And today we're going to be talking about BuildLink's new LP Diaspora, which will be followed by 4 singles. There was a bit of a mix-up with them, so I'll be talking about one of them at the end, and Tom's going to be able to talk about more about one of them, which I didn't because there was just a bit of a cock-up there. But they will be the new Drake single, followed by a Common single, and followed by a review of Zach Fox and Kenny Beats' collaboration, I Got Depression.
A charity release. And I'll then just briefly shout out the Free Nationals, Mac Miller and Carly Uchis' new track, Time. So, without further ado, let's get into this, Tom. Now, I briefly asked you at the start of this call why you think this album is called Diaspora. For diaspora means a dispersion of people from their original homeland. Now, and how it relates to the album and the sound, because as you rightly brought up, the sound on this is very varied. There's these Spanish flavorings, hip house, reggae at times. There's an awful lot going on. And Afro beat as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely Afro beat. Actually, definitely. Yeah. So you think it's that, and I'm wondering if it's a reference to the slave trade.
Well, it's not mentioned very often.
No. But it's an interesting bold title. I'm wondering why it went with that and how it relates to the album.
It's a pretty cool sounding word.
Yeah, it is. It's also a great song by Christian Scott Atunde, this great trumpeter. Yeah, if you, listener, have any thoughts on this, then do feel free to leave them in the comments. Yeah, let's get into it now. Starting off with Joke Ting.
What about
Tom,
Error?
take it all. Oh, Error. I didn't. Okay, well. Okay, yeah, my bad.
It just
Error
was
was
a
on my
bunch
left
of
off.
computer sounds for about 30 seconds.
But it's also someone running. It's someone running and heavy breathing. That's why, like, I felt like this was gonna. Yeah, I thought this was gonna be a really like tight concept album about something to do with like a meditation on the slave trade or something like that. It isn't. Yeah, so that kind of threw me off. Why there's that opener? How that relates?
I didn't catch that breathing or anything. I just sort of heard the error noises and then tried not to hear them anymore.
It's a very strange opener.
Yes. But Joke Ting, see, this is what it was a single, but I didn't really think that much of it. But then for some reason in the album, I liked it more. It's got the sort of classic hip house beats that we used to GoldLink riding on.
And Tom, just very briefly, would you mind
super
telling the listener about hip house? Just briefly explain it to them.
Well, it's sort of house sounding synthetics.
Yeah.
With sort of hip hop percussion and rapping on it. So it's a sort of a genre blend, if you like.
Yeah, like jazz hop and other trip hop, stuff like that, I guess. Okay, great. Thanks. Yeah, no, go on.
I like the hook a lot from Ari Penn Smith.
Yeah, I thought it was really melodic. Yeah.
And we get the first of many examples on this album of the DMV flow from GoldLink. Which seems to be the main way he raps.
Yeah, definitely. He has that. I noticed it quite a way through. But I like it. I think it kind of suits it. It's kind of,
and it's unique to him.
It's unique. It's really relaxed. It's measured. It's relaxed. There's nothing crazy. He never kind of loses his cool on the album, and there's no breaks of character where he gets like super emotional and starts screaming or anything. I like how measured, how just relaxed, and it never strays. It's always like it's business like, professional, whatever you want to say. I think it's pretty good. I thought this track is especially bouncy. A lot of them have this very summery vibe to them. They have
Definitely.
yeah, they kind of make me think of like summer nights. You play it at a party. It's a very, very listenable album, and it is. Yeah, a lot of the tracks, like, it starts off, there's hip house, and then later in there's Afrobeat, as we were saying. It goes places. It's pretty varied and diverse, but his flow never doesn't suit the instrumental which it's applied to. It always kind of works, which I think is pretty admirable. He's versatile whilst doing the same thing.
I would actually disagree with that.
Okay.
But more on that later.
Let's talk about Maniac. It's glitchy. It's, again, a very bouncy track. It has another great hook. It's very dark. It's swooping, and his flow, I guess it's that DMV flow, is a bit staggered. It's
more melodic this time.
It has a great hook.
Sorry.
No, don't worry. That was it.
There was a nice shout out to the late Mac Miller as well, with how he misses him because he was a maniac, and sort of the whole hook thing, calling back to the fact that you better watch your back because he's a maniac and he's going to make $1 million for all his children. Which, as far as I know, he only has one, but I mean,
man wants
illegitimate.
To have... or he wants to have more potentially. Maybe he's got big plans. Yeah, I love that hook. Yeah,
that's pretty good. Although I thought the beat was quite boring on this one, which isn't something you usually say on a Gold Link.
But second time I heard it on the re-listen, it gelled with me quite a bit more.
Oh, okay.
Days Like This is another like melodic track. Is another like very bouncy bass. The feature I felt was a bit forgettable. It wasn't.
Oh, really? Oh my god.
Well, I think
Khalid was pretty fantastic, actually. I'd say.
Okay.
His I've never heard his voice sound like the hook before, and then his verse was very solid. And then Goldlink comes in, and this is where I'd argue with you about the flow thing earlier. I thought he just sounded really off on this song.
Oh,
like the DMV flow didn't suit the beat at all. It was just, it felt like he was a really badly mixed guest on his own song.
I don't get that. I actually, what stood out to me more than like the feature on this song was like how he was rapping was in these like great kind of couplets, and how it was kind of staggered and like it was staggered in these great couplets, and it was all it wasn't like flowing as easily, but it
it was super clunky.
Okay, I don't know. I think it was clunky in a good way.
It sounded to me like he'd done his classic flow without hearing the beat and just sort of put it together. That's what it sounded like to me.
Maybe they made the beat in post and he did it all a cappella.
Maybe, and the BPM was all too slow for this. His verse.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. But all right. There's what is the next track called?
Zulu Screams.
Zulu Screams. That's what it is. Zulu Screams.
Like the tribe.
Yeah, I think it was.
It's an Afrobeaty sounding track.
I got some kind of tribal vibes from it. I think it was a standout track.
Yeah,
the chorus
bounce to it.
Chorus has great Afrobeat flavor, and that bounce is like definitely due to the Afrobeat instrumental. It it's way better. We did didn't we do? I think we either did or we almost reviewed an Afrobeat album. I think we did.
We did Mr. Easy.
Yeah, Mr. Easy.
Like a really poppy Afrobeat.
Yeah. This
was a bit more traditional.
Yeah, this is way better. Yeah,
I liked where like the start with the beat bouncing. And I thought all Link's verses were great. And I love the Malik Berry hook, but then it's sort of, I don't know, it's like I just sort of fell apart at the end. It felt a bit underwhelming to me, but I still love the song.
I felt that there was a bridge. In the bridge in the track was really beautiful. That it really stood out to me. It's yeah, it's definitely one of the more well, no, not one of the better tracks. It stands above the rest because I don't think necessarily like there's a bad track on this. I think this is a very solid album. Yeah, Zulu Screams. I think it's great. But yeah, coming back, like there's reference, like it being called Zulu Screams with its Afrobeat flavor. I felt like there was something about and it being called diaspora. I think it's all coming together. There's something about people being taken away from Africa or when they go back to Africa, at least in part. I don't know because even the album artwork with the green and the red and the black, it's I don't know if you can necessarily say the colors are like Afrocentric, but it reminds me of on the Low End Theory by A Tribe Called Quest. They use those colors. Those colors are all used in like Afrocentric stuff. Generally, I thought it was interesting. There has to be something more to the title, man. It's bugging me. I can't let it go.
Are those colours that prominent on here?
On the album artwork, definitely, I'd say it's this nice woman like just bathed in these green lights, and I swear there's a bit of red in it. I think it's a lovely
like
album.
some tiny text.
But
So
well.
maybe that's the colours of Rastafarianism.
I didn't know that. There's definitely something there, man. But okay, let's move on.
Then we
More.
got more, another hip housey number.
Yeah, it's a very kind of soft beat. It's almost like kind of did I say retro there kind of feel. But yeah, and Gold Link's flows on here are consistently relaxed. Or consistency, that's what I wanted to say. He's consistent across the album. Yeah, that's what I think really stands out to me.
He actually kept to a song topic on this one about sort of being with someone that's not necessarily the one, but they're good enough for right now.
Settling.
And I think by the sound of the sort of female artist on the hook, maybe the other person feels the same way. And there's also a funny line about keeping one eye on it, like I'm Fetty Wap.
Fetty Wap had wasn't it a disease he had as a kid, and that's why he only has one eye?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it was.
I tried to look it up ages ago, and like he refused to answer the question.
Oh, that was a funny line though. Pretty funny line. Well, where is Fetty Wap? He really like did some stuff.
Fetty flopped.
He Fetty dipped. But yeah, let's talk about Coke White, man. Do you like Coke White?
I do.
I like Coke White.
Is that about the song or generally?
Generally.
No comment. So this song,
this song.
I thought that it was interesting that all the sort of where there weren't verses, there were like these weird vocal samples. So it started off with the guy saying Coke White. Then Pusha T comes in as his verse.
Comes in hot.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And then it has the same vocal sample again, and then like the beat starts speeding up. Then Link freaking kills his verses. But the one thing that pulls the song back from probably being one of, if not the best on the album, is that it's censored for no reason.
I think there has to be a reason. I'd like to say it's stylistic.
One of Gold Link's lines says, "Blank, but I'm not blank." So it literally doesn't make any sense because it's clean.
I don't know. I think that's probably just to keep you guessing, or it could be a joke. But I think there's definitely a stylistic reason for it.
Oh man. I mean, I thought it would have been fixed because of the name changed from Coke/Moscow to Coke White.
Coke/Moscow. Coke was a much better title.
Well, I don't know. I think originally Gold Link's second half was a different song.
Well, then perhaps it wasn't stylistic. That's interesting.
I don't know.
But oh man, this I think this is the best track on the album. It's dark, it's hard, it's stylish. Pusha T owns it. He really does own this track. I mean, but then like Link is great as well. But I love how his verse is after a beat switch to this like impressive. Like I thought the first half was great. The beat switch is to this like much like a really hard boiled no nonsense beat. It's very, very cool. And it's a like flawless beat switch. I love a good beat switch.
And his rapping was a lot faster here as well.
Yeah. And then from this like hard, like just hardcore track, we go into this very jazzy
In fact, it's almost all laid back from here on in, really.
Yeah. I'll give you
This
that.
was my favourite pre-album single.
Using is what we're. Oh, you say yes. You say is what we're talking about. It was so jazzy. I love the intro, and it has the first one of these like Latin, has this very Latin jazz flavor to it. You're right, Tom.
I'm good.
And it's very sexy. It's a very sexy track. Yeah, whereas this is what I want to talk about him being versatile. On the last track, he uses the same flow on both tracks. One is a very hard, like dark, gritty track. The other is this very jazzy, lighter track, and it works on both. I think that's where it's versatile. And I didn't know Tyler Creator was on this album. He comes on this track, and he has a very good feature, and his drawl, how he says certain words. I didn't notice it on his like earlier albums, but definitely lately. Like, have you noticed he has this like drawl on certain words? How he says them, he kind of like elongates just the endings of them. At times, it complements the slow kind of chill beat. Yeah, it was cool.
I love the really laid back hook from J Prince. I thought that was a highlight. Also, Tyler's great verse.
Yeah.
Bookended
I had no idea
by
Tyler
the
was
two
on
Link ones. When he dropped the single on like a random day, he said, "Tyler still raps, by the way." That was his only promo for the song.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah. Have you seen the video of Eagle live?
No.
I don't know. I don't think it works as a live album. I'm just saying.
Well,
I don't. Maybe we'll talk about this
live.
another time. It'll be into. Oh, Tom, you should do a concert review.
Maybe I will.
Yeah. Then
Maybe I will.
This is followed up by Yard.
This was the first one that made me go, eh.
Yeah, it's a bit. It has
take or leave it.
The sound shifts again from jazzy, from having been like hard to jazzy, and now to a kind of funky thing with this stylish bass line.
Yeah, the bass line was great.
The song feels a bit more like braggadocious, and ultimately ended up finding it a bit obnoxious, especially with the chorus.
Yeah, the Western feature was a random one for me because they're like this UK-based group.
Yeah.
That sing. They're really overrated. I don't really get them at all, to be honest.
Nah, this track,
and especially not on this. But I liked that Gold Link said that his what he wants in a woman is a girl with a 5-year plan that drives the good kid Mad City minivan.
That's a funny couplet.
That's a hard bar right there.
What would you do if we kiss in the good kid Mad City minivan?
Could we? Yeah, not a highlight for me.
No, definitely not. Spanish song, how do you find that? Because here's one thing, it's Spanish song, it's back to these summery beats, it's more light-hearted, but
It's a bit of a mess.
You say has the Spanish Latin jazz vibe, so why not use a Latin jazz like sample on a song called Spanish Song? Hmm?
Well, I think they used a lot of Spanish words like randomly, like the little vocal bit at the beginning. She was before the pub/karaoke singer starts the hook. He was like going, "Mamacita, mamacita,"
Oh yeah. But I mean, it's
and then
oh right.
and he's like, Goldling in one of his verses like, "I don't want no miss, no massa, just come to my casa."
Yeah.
It's sort of just random Spanish things. So I think that's the reason the song was called this. But like I said, the beat was a bit of a mess to me, and the hook being sung by this guy that just sounded like a pub singer or someone doing karaoke.
It's really not a compelling track.
No, it was all over the place.
Yeah, this part after Coke White, or I guess after you say no, definitely after Coke White. It's Coke White up to No Lie. It's just these light-hearted tracks with these the instrumentals aren't this kind of dark hip house, and
Well,
they then well perhaps dark isn't the right way, but like the instrumentals switch into these kind of jazzy and funky ones, and then whatever the hell Spanish song is, and then on No Lie it goes back to what it was before.
but it starts off as an Afrobeat song, almost which fits the WizKid feature on the song.
Yeah,
And then it sort of feels like it's going to peter out,
Mm.
and then suddenly this hard as nails trap beat comes in,
yeah,
and it's got the horn sample that I've heard used on this Joe Gotti Little Baby song that came out a little while ago. It's pretty crisp,
yeah.
and it's just man, so much. The second half, I mean, they're like the polar opposite songs, but yet the beat switch is still pretty nice.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very nocturnal track, especially at the very end. Yeah. What about Tiff Freestyle? Another kind of strange interlude track. Reminds me of that interlude near the end of the Steve Lacy track, or just like it's just a weird interlude.
It is what it says it is. It's a little freestyle. I quite like the host's little bits.
Yeah,
she was saying.
Yeah, me too. It's a great freestyle as far as they go as well. It's funny, it's funky.
He put a
it's
freestyle on his
authentic.
last album that was better though.
Oh,
And then he said on one of his other songs that he like hasn't touched a pen in ages. So are all his things freestyled? And if that's the case, why is this one named freestyle and the other ones aren't? I don't know.
they're not all freestyled. I'd highly doubt that. Man's just flexing. Then we got Rumble, which is hard. HARD, hard. It has a very thick bass.
Mhm.
Oh, here's the thing. Like, despite this being the hardest track, the flow remains the same. And I mean that in a good way, because it's just this consistency. And yeah, just Link never loses his cool. And it's,
You can use the DMV
measured.
flow on anything.
Yeah.
It's like
I
the
think
Brockhampton flow.
we need to investigate this. Perhaps write a paper on it. The usage of the DMV flow and how versatile it is. Why is it called the DMV flow? Do you know that?
'Cause that's where he's from.
A DMV.
The DMV. That's the Seattle, Washington DC area.
So it's
That's where
Goldlink
Rico
kind of
Nasty's
pioneered
from as well,
this.
but she doesn't use it, so I don't know what's going on.
Right. What do you think of Rumble, Tom?
Well, I think it's got a great beat, like you said. I like Link's verse. I like the Lil Nye chorus, but I just thought that the Jackson Wang, the second rap feature, was terrible.
How so?
His flows were all sloppy. Everything he said was dumb. And like the first flex in his verse was that everything we buy is going to have the made in China tag on it, but like that's cheap shit. So,
Why are you complaining?
oh no, why are you bragging about that?
Oh, yeah.
And it just ruined the song for me. I think he's from that Chinese rap group that everyone's banging on about.
What, 88? No, wait, I don't want to get involved.
They
in
were
this.
on 88 Rising. They were on
Okay.
the label, but that's not what they were called. Higher
Yeah.
Brothers, I want to say. Which he was on. Goldlink was on their album, so that would make sense. But I mean, anyway, yeah, not for
I don't know
me.
what else. I don't know what else doing it. I thought, yeah, never mind. I was an idiot.
What about you?
Rumble, just really the bass really stuck out to me. Like I haven't really been I wasn't paying attention much to the lyrics on this whole album. It's really I was getting at the vibe and the instrumentals the whole way through. But yeah, it's definitely one of the harder tracks. And then we have Swoosh. It's I was paying attention. Like Link is the most lyrical he is on this track.
Yeah,
I think it's arguably the best track. He's very humble on it. It has one of the best beats. It's composed like very nicely. It's chilled out. It has another beautiful bridge with this kind of conceptual and dreamy, great closing part where it's all these voices, these lovely like voices. It's like women's voices. It's almost angelic, and it's just this great closer. I really liked it. But again, this album like is kind of all over the place sonically.
it's
Would
also
you agree?
got the nice play on the Nike swoosh. And
Yes.
him swooshing around, as well as the constantly repeated line, and all I hear is deadly screams. What a pretty sound.
That's pretty hard.
Which I think is hecklers and naysayers. I see that argument that it is all over the place. But I think it was almost nice because he was painting himself in a bit of a corner with the hip house thing on his 3 previous projects. So to have a bit of variety is not a bad thing in my opinion.
I was a big fan of the Afrobeat flavors on this. I wish there were more, to be honest.
I just think he could have gone with either album of all the hard beats, album of all the bouncier songs.
Yeah.
'Cause I think if we didn't have all the rapidy rap songs on here, it would probably flow a lot nicer.
Yeah. I was really hoping this was just going to be like a well-constructed concept album, which is short, to the point, and it's just trying to, like, something like Eagle.
Well, it's the same length as Eagle.
It was that intro, man. It really threw me through a loop. I thought it was going to go in a completely different direction than it did. And it kind of just meanders, whereas I was hoping it was going to be a straight, like, bullseye shot. And it wasn't that at all. It was it kind of it started off great, and then after Coat White, it kind of just goes in a weird direction and comes back to a great, albeit great closer, but a closer, so you end up in a direction which is like pretty like drastically away from where you started, and it just took this very meandering route. Very strange. Yeah, it's a weird one, man. I think there are some great parts to it, but I don't think it was. Yeah, I think its fatal flaw is that it just isn't very cohesive in parts, but there are parts of it which are very well put together at the same time. So I think it's a 7. I think it's a 7.
I would agree with that. I think it's probably his most consistent album, but it doesn't have some of the there's not really the hit on here that he's had on other ones.
Well, there's Coke
Actually,
White.
no, I would say the Gold Complex was probably better than this, actually, his first mixtape.
Really? That's bad. It's bad if you're not getting better.
Sometimes you come out with great stuff and then it's hard to beat.
No, it is. It is hard to beat. But, like, I don't know. I hope...
That's a throwaway remark there, Tom. I hope you take that back.
That's fine. Yeah, I really hope he does come out with. It's just again with the title and like I thought it was gonna be something completely different. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be more Afrocentric, and it wasn't in parts, and it wasn't. It didn't have any like wow moments to it besides Coke White. Yeah, it really wasn't. I don't know, man. I think it really could have been great. I really think it could have been great. It has a lot of potential. Gold Link like has won me over. I respect him as an artist because I listened to his previous album and I hadn't really gotten anything from it, but I got quite a lot from this. I just really hope. I feel like there's potential which wasn't tapped into on this project, man.
Mhm.
But okay, let's move on to the singles. Now, okay, this is
start
a
with
cop out.
Drake.
Yeah, we'll start off with Drake. So what happened was, Tom said we were gonna do Drake, and I thought it was just the one single. So when I saw there was two in this single, there's Money in the Grave and Omerta, I assumed you were just doing Money in the Grave, but that wasn't the case. That's my bad. So Tom is briefly going to touch on Omerta. I listened to like 30 seconds, but I didn't get anything from it. That's why I went straight onto Money in the Grave because that seems to be like his biggest hit right now. And then we'll both talk about that. So Tom, what were your just some quick thoughts on Omerta? Why is it better than Money in the Grave?
Dropped these two songs
Together.
because the Raptors won whatever the basketball league's called. The NBA.
Yeah, I really don't get all of that.
And for some reason, he was on like the bus parade, and he was at every game, and so he took them winning as him winning.
Sounds like he's just a super fan.
And dropped these two songs. Well, I mean, it was their first ever title. Fair play. Go crazy, why not? But we dropped these two songs. Neither of them are the best thing he's ever done. I thought Omerta was the better one for me because the beat was more interesting. And he just rapped. He gave us a little update on his mental state, what he's thinking about. Whereas Money in the Grave was a bit trash. Especially the Rick Ross feature in particular was abysmal.
I thought Rick Ross. I completely disagree. I think it's this gritty track. Like Drake sounds bitter on it, and like Ross delivers like is a solid feature. His gruff delivery complements the grit on the track. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. He's not like it's not stupendous, but he's like very gruff in his delivery, and it complements how kind of gritty the beat is and how hard it is. I think I really don't listen to Drake. This is the like, and I thought it was actually decent. So I mean, I think it's a compliment from me. I think I disagree with you wholeheartedly about this track. Yeah, but
I'd do well never to hear it again.
That's fine, honestly. I do well not to listen to Drake most days. If I have to listen to something related to Drake, I listen to the story of Adidon. Yeah, no, what about...
Speaking of, he had some words for Pusha T on here, which I thought was bad. Just let it go, man. You lost. Move on.
Pusha went in really hard. Like, really very, very, very hard. But yeah, okay, that's for a different day. What about Her by Common?
Shit's crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me set the scene.
Okay.
Are you a Common guy?
I've never heard Common before.
See, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think
Chicago legend Common.
Yeah.
Sorry. So he hops on this J Dilla beat. He dips in the archive yet again. Because he's done... This is not the first time he's jumped on a J Dilla beat after his unfortunate passing. And it's a sort of a response track to his 1994 song. I used to love her in all caps, which is an
Okay.
anagram for hear every rhyme.
Okay.
So in that one, he was sort of saying how he wasn't feeling the sort of the gangster rap that was popular at the time, the more braggadocious hip hop, and that he didn't want to hear every rhyme.
I didn't realize. I really didn't realize this was so meta and there was so much to it.
And this song, he sort of switches that, saying, now I do hear every rhyme. Maybe he's like an older man, just taking a step back, taking stock. And then
Yeah.
he sort of, especially on the last verse, he shouts out a whole bunch of artists in this really clever way. So it's Nipsey Hussle, Chance
Yeah, I
the
heard
Rapper,
that.
Young Thug, Future, Lil Uzi Vert, 21 Savage, Kendrick, 2 Chainz, YG, Gucci Mane, Meek Mill, ASAP Rocky and Ferg, No Name, Cardi B, Tyler the Creator, and Jaden Smith.
Yeah.
And I also thought in another way that he sort of responds to this song, the hook from Daniel Caesar sort of interpolated the juicy, or the line where I never thought that we'd take it this far,
Mhm.
which I think maybe Biggie was one of the guys that the I Used to Love Her song was aimed at. So again,
Whoa. Yeah.
just a nice to bring it around. I thought it was a pretty flawless song, to be honest.
My God.
Apart
Yeah.
from that, the outro was a bit long, like the instrumental outro.
It's
was
very
over a
long.
minute.
Yeah. It's around a 6 or 7 minute track, I think. It's a very long
Yeah,
track.
it was.
That was the thing. I think it was a bit too long, and the only no, I take back what I was gonna say. I was gonna say like I have mixed feelings surrounding that just the verse where he deliberately stutters himself. Where it's like sensational, and with a bunch
That's
of
the thing
words.
he does.
Yeah, I found that a bit cringy the first time I heard it, but I'm likely to go back on that on repeated listens. But yeah, I didn't know it was a Dilla beat because I thought it was a great, very stylish beat with this kind of 70s spacey kind of flavor to it. And the only bad thing I found was just that stutter that he gave himself on those words. But apart from that, like this is a real treat. I can't believe I haven't heard Corn before. It seems like I guess it reminds me of Shafiq Hussein in that like these are guys who've been around for quite a while who have pretty built up fan bases but just aren't in the limelight per se.
Yeah, I think his last few releases have been pretty mediocre compared to the back catalogue, but you know.
Yeah. Tom, I had no idea there was so much to this track. I'm really glad you told me.
Hey man, that's alright.
Yeah. But from a very kind of cerebral meta track onto yes, the charity release collaboration between Zach Fox, the comedian, and Kenny Beats, a white man. A white man, really? Tom, wait, is Kenny Beats actually a white man?
I've seen evidence in both yes and no, so I couldn't possibly answer.
Yeah, I don't think we have enough evidence to.
Inconclusive.
But yeah, it's the track I Got Depression, which is the only freestyle as of yet to have been released from the cave. This is from the Zach Fox episode,
I'm sure we'll do the cave review when the series is over.
I don't think it will come over anytime soon. I think just on a quiet week we should definitely talk about the cave for an entire episode because I love it. I love it. And okay, so I mean this whole track is a bit of a big meme. It's great. It has like the hook. I Got Depression. Well, I stick
Hook
my
of the
balls-
year.
Hook of the year. I dip my balls in some Thousand Island dressing because I got depression. It's so funny, and what's even funnier is just the fact that it's a freestyle. He didn't properly write it.
Oh, he did. Did you know? If you watch
No?
the cave, he's reading off his phone the whole time.
I guess he's yeah. But I
The
mean,
only
like,
thing is, I
off
would
the
say
cuff.
is I still would rather watch the cave Not only because of like the build up to the song and when he goes crazy at the end and starts
Yeah.
spitting random lines. But also, I
But
thought the way
also
it was
that-
mixed
that-
was a bit rushed and a bit. I don't know. It didn't flow very well from the first section to the second one.
I mean, you're really there all for the second section. The first section is just
Yeah.
kind of trashy. Yeah, it's also, it doesn't have Zach Fox in his underwear singing in the booth, and it's all about the context. That's why it's so funny. It's so funny because he's just like, yeah, he just strips off all his clothes and he's in the professional recording studio, rapping about dipping his balls in Thousand Island dressing, and about if you don't if you don't praise Jesus, he's gonna smack you in the face or something. It's so completely stupid, and that's why it's amazing. But
I think the main reason it came out is because a bunch of videos blew up with these guys. There was the one I saw was these two guys dancing to this in a train station.
what?
Like, it's on
I
a
haven't seen
platform
that.
while people are like walking past.
I did
And then
not
Ken,
know that.
I only saw it because Kenny retweeted it and was like, why is a video of two guys dancing to Zach Fox rapping with no pants on got over 100,000 views?
I don't know, man. It's just mimetic.
And then Zach Fox was on the comments like, release it, Kenneth! And they did.
And that is how you do business in the 21st century. And yeah, I'm going to talk briefly about Time. It's a collaboration between Kaliuchis, Mac Miller, and the Free Nationals. The Free Nationals, yeah, I was going to ask, they're Anderson Paxman, yeah. And have you listened to it, Tom?
Of course I have.
Oh, good. So yeah, we can actually talk about it. Okay, I wasn't sure if I was going to be on my own here. But yeah, it's this very lovely, light, summery track with these beautiful, crisp drums, this buttery bass line, and a flute. I love a good flute line. It's very melodic. It's very well constructed, and this trumpet solo in the outro is funky as frick. It is a beautiful track, and it's time you all listen to it.
First
anything else
posthumous
you'd like to
feature
add?
from Mac Miller
Mm.
since he died. But it was obviously recorded for this song because he kept rapping about time and the whole subject of the song.
Yeah.
And the only thing I didn't really like was that Kelly just kept saying, "I want to be your girl and not your mum." Like, where'd the mum come into this?
This is, yeah, I've got nothing actually. I was gonna make a joke about Freud, but it doesn't even work. So, I don't know. Maybe it does. I don't know enough about it. All right, let's move on. I'm gonna dig a hole here. I thought it was really funky, man. I mean, obviously it's gonna be funky. It's got the Free Nationals on it, and yeah. I mean, it's been a good week. It's been a good week.
Yeah.
And next week's gonna be pretty heavy. There's a lot of stuff to cover. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you all then. I really do hope you enjoyed. I've been Tim.
And I've been Tom.
And you've been listening for the past 43 minutes to the Tim Tom podcast.
Holy
Adios.
moly.
My